I think about 6 months into God calling me to himself, he started to teach me and make me realize that I had to stay with his spirit alone in order to understand things. So the first 6 months, I think I was spending a lot of time listening to different sermons and commentaries and things like that, and getting very confused, feeling like, when God calls you to himself, you want to know everything about him. But the problem is, in the world, we've been taught that we need to go to experts in whatever we want to understand. Well, God is the only expert on anything, but the world doesn't teach us that, and counterfeit Christianity certainly isn't teaching us that. So I had been binging on movies and sermons and all kinds of nonsense. And God started to make me realize that it was nonsense, that it was indeed nonsense, and there was no source of truth. And this has sort of been my personality, to be honest. Even when I was in graduate school, I was not finding answers, and I would spend a lot of time reading outside literature in addition to the thousands of pages per week we had to read in our program. But I just was not getting answers, and I was not satisfied. And I never got any answers in the field of psychology. And it's impossible to get answers in the field of psychology because they don't have answers. The people teaching, the people practicing are some of the most messed up people you'll ever meet in your life. And that's the big joke. Everybody knows it. So why do we keep going to people who are referred to as experts in the world when we know they're messed up? I mean, that says something about us, doesn't it? And likewise, in counterfeit Christianity, you see all kinds of disgusting things going on in the houses of those who claim to be leading. Look at Rick Warren. His own son committed suicide. That's an issue, guys, because the word says that if your own house is not in order, you can't serve in God's house. I'm not going to go along with the world narrative that was about mental illness. He could not even help his son. If you can't even help your children, you need not set yourself up in the house of God. You need to go help your children. Get your own house in order so that you can help them. The word supports this. Take the plank out of your eye so that you can help your brother to take the speck out of his. Your own house needs to be in order, or you cannot serve in his house. The word is the authority. But now Rick Warren is spearheading this movement to hasten Armageddon. That is really some kind of arrogance, to not get your own house in order, take a break from what you think you're doing in ministry because it ain't working if it's not working in your own house. It is infinitely ironic that you would write a book called The Purpose-Driven Life, and yet your own child felt that there was no purpose to the extent that they killed themselves. Think about it. My life has been touched by suicide as well. My father committed suicide. Doesn't mean I'm going to make excuses for people. Doesn't mean I'm going to make excuses for him. I am not responsible for my father. I am responsible for my children and those God has placed in my care. So he taught me fairly early on. He had to hand me over and let me experience that deception for a little while. But probably within about 6 months, he started to teach me, you got to stay by my spirit alone because no one is speaking truth. And that is the way that he spoke it to me. No one is speaking truth. And all these years later, 3 or 4 years later, 4 years later, same is true. No one is speaking truth. So I go to Google today because I simply wanted to understand, why are people celebrating All Saints Day? Because God raised this up yesterday. What is All Saints Day? What are they celebrating? And what are they claiming this is all about? Because it's not in the Bible. And I want to demonstrate something to you because, God does not have me go into Google either. Obviously, if there's something straightforward, like why are people celebrating All Saints Day? That's going to be a straightforward answer. That's a little different from, wondering about something in the Bible and then Googling it. That is not something that we should be doing at all. And hopefully you're going to see why that is right now. So I'm just going to go down the page because I think there are so many things here that are so interesting. All Saints Day, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's set in reference to Halloween. Anybody else know that Halloween is pagan and Halloween is evil and Halloween is a day that those who overtly, say that they worship Satan, that's one of their quote unquote holy days? Anybody know that? Good grief. So it says November 1st is All Saints Day, a feast observing the lives of the many saints for whom there is no specific feast day during the year. Well, what's a saint? There's no elevated status of sainthood or exaltation of man. In fact, the word actually says that those who humble themselves will be exalted later by God. We don't exalt human beings. So Catholicism has this entire narrative around what it means to be a saint. But the word talks about saints as just being God's people, God's holy people. That's what that means. And I can guarantee you that the people that they are exalting and elevating, such as Mary and Peter and Jude, all of these people that they're venerating and worshiping and idolizing, the real people would not have been pleased about this. They would not have felt honored. You know how I know that? Because Paul addressed it. He said, some of you are saying that you worship Paul, some are saying you worship Apollos or Cephas. Who is Paul? Who's Cephas? Who's Apollos? Was I a sacrifice for you? I planted the seed, Apollos watered it, only God has been making it grow. So he corrected the people, and then counterfeit Christianity swooped in and said, no, we're gonna go ahead and do this. So this idea of sainthood established by the harlot Catholic Church, it is wrong, it is idolatrous. Listen to what I'm saying. It is not just incorrect, it is wrong. It is sinful. Because you can do something incorrectly and, you might say, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But you can do something wrong that is also incorrect. And this is wrong. It is a day of idolatry. The next question on the page is, what is the tradition during All Saints Day? During All Saints Day, everybody leaves the flowers and lit up candles on the graves. Flowers to remember the deceased, also used to enjoy the colors of life once, and candles as a symbol of love and hope for peaceful salvation of those who passed away. This might be a practice that you've become accustomed to, but we're not supposed to be appealing to the dead. They're dead. Let the dead be dead. I don't feel the need to go visit graves. I just don't. Or have conversations with the dead. That's called necromancy. And so this also is a veneration of the dead. It is not only incorrect, it is wrong. Is All Saints Day the same as Halloween? The suffix "-een" is an abbreviation of evening. Halloween refers to the eve of All Hallows, the night before All Saints Day. So, I said early on that this day, this so-called holy day, is set in reference to Halloween. Why? In what world? And by the way, is this the way that God told us to observe his holy days in Leviticus 23? His actual holy days? Because none of this follows the pattern of God. None of it. And now you're setting what you're calling a holy day in reference to an outright blatant pagan holiday. This is nuts. So it says the suffix "-een" is an abbreviation of evening. Hallow-een refers to the eve of All Hallows, the night before All Saints Day. Now they're trying to make Halloween holy. The Christian holy day that honors saintly people of the past. All Souls Day is a day to pray for all souls. Boy, oh boy. Is All Saints Day a holy day? Yes, All Saints Day is a holy day of obligation. Okay, you're obligated. Catholics are expected to attend Mass on All Saints Day. What is the difference between All Saints Day and All Souls Day? Who cares? I'm not going to get into it because I'm focusing on All Saints Day. But where is this in the Bible? If it's a holy day, then where is it in the Bible? Because God said, these are my appointed times in Leviticus 23, and none of them mention anything about All Saints Day or these pagan practices that they, do on their counterfeit holy days. Why do we celebrate All Saints Day after Halloween? Oh, this is so sick. From the early centuries of Christianity, November 1st and 2nd have been observed as days to remember the dead. This remembrance most likely originated in Celtic lands, where this time of year marks the beginning of death in nature. That doesn't answer any kind of question about how this is in relation to God or his word, but it does establish that All Saints' Day is set in reference to Halloween. What is the difference between the Day of the Dead and All Saints' Day? The Day of the Dead acknowledges the symbiotic relationship of life and death. All Saints' Day is dedicated to the saints of the church who are in heaven. No one's in heaven yet, so I don't know what they're talking about. No one's in heaven yet. People go to rest until the day that they are resurrected. No one's in heaven yet. So what are they talking about? I don't even think that's part of their doctrine. I thought they thought people went to purgatory. Not that it matters. Nothing they say is true. But no one's in heaven yet, guys. You go to rest and then you rise on Resurrection Day. Goes on to say All Souls Day is set aside for those who have died but have yet to attain heaven. Oh, brother. Got it. So they have this idea that saints go to heaven because they've separated saints from the rest of God's people. Boy, wow. Did Halloween exist before Saints' Day? In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as a time to honor saints. Soon after, All Saints' Day came to incorporate some of the traditions of Samhain. I don't know who that is. The evening before All Saints' Day was known as All Hallows' Eve and later Halloween. I don't get that at all. So a day on which people are glorifying demons and, haunted houses and things like this, that is supposed to be a hallowed day, a holy day to God? How? There's no way. Do yourself a favor and read Leviticus 23 and take a look at how God says to observe his holy days and start observing them. And then you tell me, is this anywhere close to what God has commanded? And then there's a prayer for All Saints' Day. Dear Father, you've given the saints in heaven eternal happiness, and they now live in the fullness of your glory because of their holy love for you. They also care about me and my family, my friends in my church and my neighbors. You hear the leaning into idolatry? So they're my intercessor. Thank you for the gift of their friendship and the witness of their holy lives. The gift of their friendship. Okay, there's necromancy. How do you have a friendship with someone who's dead? Unless it's God, who isn't dead but was raised to life. These people have not been raised to life. Is All Saints' Day biblical? The saints we honor are those who have gone before us, whose lives are marked by their faithfulness to Jesus and the gospel, says Briscoe. The gospel passage read at Catholic masses around the world on All Saints' Day comes from the Gospel of Matthew and lists the path to holiness we are called to live. Where in the Gospel of Matthew? Okay, so I clicked on it to see where are they trying to say that this has to do with All Saints' Day. It says, said Briscoe, as we hear the Beatitudes listed one after another, we hear Jesus giving a new way of life. The Beatitudes are the heart of Christian morality. They are how Christians are to live, okay? The Beatitudes, he also noted, are not only the way to holiness, they are the way to happiness. We don't have to be sad to be saints. Holiness will make us happy, and it will make us more fully ourselves, he said. Oh, okay, so never mind the word that says that we grieve, but later our grief will turn to joy. Okay, no, celebrate it up. That's what he's saying is be happy here in this world. We're not a glum lot. If you're happy now and you're happy in this life, you will not be happy in eternity. So he never actually answered the question of where it is in Matthew, because it's not. By the way, guys, that came from Fox News. You know that news channel where they're all dressed up in the world with their high heels and their diamond crosses around their neck? That's what that came from. All sitting around claiming to be Christian, judging the pagans for doing the same things that they're doing now. 2 years ago, they were pointing at the pagans saying, oh, LGBT plus. They're so ridiculous. They accuse everybody of being racist and wanting them to unalive themselves. So what are they doing now? What do Christian Zionists and Jewish Zionists do? Oh, you want to annihilate all Jews because you don't agree with them? I mean, 2 years ago, that was plain to see that that was a ridiculous mentality if you don't agree with someone's way of life and that what they're doing is blatantly wrong. If you don't agree with that, then you want them to unalive themselves and you want to annihilate them and you're for the elimination of their people. The same things are being used right now. These are, I mean, just incredible hypocrites. Should Catholics participate in Halloween? Okay, so let me just reiterate the fact that they're claiming that that this is a hallowed day, Halloween. And now they're asking, should Catholics participate in Halloween? This is very confused. Listen to what they say. Catholics can also can dress up in costume for Halloween, but should keep in mind that it is best to stay away from costumes related to its pagan roots, like goblins, witches, or horror film characters. Dressing up as something milder, like one's favorite sports player, cartoon character, or superhero, is a better approach. Oh, okay, so dress up as other idols. So in one context, and this is typical of Catholics, okay? The Pope says something like, "Oh, you can bless same-sex marriage, but every parish can decide on their own." Okay, so you're the vicar of God on earth. You're claiming that you speak for God, but apparently what God commands is only a suggestion. Basically decide at your own discretion whether or not you're going to obey. No big deal. We can all agree to disagree. This is a divided kingdom, guys. On one hand, people are saying that Hallowed Eve is a holy day. On the other hand, they're saying it has pagan roots. Why would you associate yourself with anything that has pagan roots? And then here's another opinion. The Holy See has warned that parents should not allow their children to dress up as ghosts and ghouls on Saturday, calling Halloween a pagan celebration of terror, fear, and death. Okay, so what is it? Do you guys have a one answer across the board or just a bunch of opinions? Because the word is supposed to be the anchor. Everything is supposed to come from the word, not personal opinion. But see, this is exactly what happens in the prostitutes that bore out of her. Each denomination has their own opinion about what's okay. No one has regard for the actual word, so that is the truth that holds God's actual people together. Now, this is coming from Country Living Magazine. It's right there in the name, meaning Holy Evening, shortened from All Hallows Eve. Halloween is the evening vigil before All Saints' Day, a religious holiday honoring Christian martyrs. Wow. I mean, I always thought that Country Living Magazine was pretty innocuous, but that's really bad, guys. And then they cite this, Titus 1:15. To the pure, all things are pure. So what they're implying is paganism. If you're pure, then paganism is pure to you, right? That's how they're trying to manipulate this. To the pure, all things are pure, but to the defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. But both their minds and their consciences are defiled. So essentially, what they are trying to imply right here and are distorting in Scripture is that a person like myself who acknowledges that these things are pagan, that they are not in God's word, they are not his holy days, I would be defined as someone who is defiled and unbelieving because because I know that this is impure and both my mind and my conscience is defiled. But those who, can't give up their Easter, won't give up their Christmas and all of these worldly holidays, won't acknowledge that God's Passover is his holy day, not Easter, that they are somehow pure because, and then the other thing that they will cite is you can't judge me based on whether I think one day is holy or another. So you see that they just twist things around in Scripture, they handle it falsely, and they condemn God and they condemn his people in order to justify themselves. That's ridiculous. That's disgusting. Not that I ever really did, but, I kind of like to have liked in the past to look at that magazine. Oh, it'll never happen again. Ever, ever, ever. I don't care if they've got the best recipe in the world in that magazine. I will never, ever touch that magazine again. This is disgusting that they would manipulate in this way. Shame on them. What do Catholics do on All Saints' Day? Well, I can tell you what they were doing in 1755. They were getting ready to burn Christians at the stake in Lisbon, Portugal for entertainment. And then they went to Mass on their All Saints' Day, and God sent an earthquake, a tsunami, and none of them have the sense to understand that this is God's wrath. God sent that. No, instead they're saying, oh, well, it wasn't God's wrath. It was actually Mother Nature. It's tectonic plates. Like, God isn't sovereign. So stupid. I've said this over and over. God does not crash his own party. So why would he send all of that to his people, quote unquote, on his holy day? That doesn't make sense. So just some things to think about with regard to the Catholic Church. And, they're not the only ones who observe All Saints' Day. And certainly, Easter and Christmas are worldwide holidays, pagan holidays that people are celebrating, claiming to be doing so in the name of God. This is a huge problem. And I'll tell you, this is so interesting to me that when I confront people about this, that they really are so attached to these holidays of the world, they would rather forsake their salvation than give up Christmas and Easter. It's pretty incredible to me. Please discern what I've said with God.